When that scene, there's that scene in Jaws 3. I'm going to spoil Jaws 3 for anyone who hasn't seen it, but there are moments in my cinematic journey that I will never forget. And one of those moments is Jaws 3. I find this film to be actually utterly frightening. Even now, whenever I see Jaws 3, I find it utterly frightening because of the fact that I saw it when I was young and it really traumatized me. I was born in 1979. Jaws 3 came out in the early 80s, but I saw it when I was really young. Now, I can't remember exactly, but I actually think, for whatever reason, I have memories associated with seeing it in the theater. Now, I don't know if this is true or not. Maybe I'm misremembering, but in any event, I remember seeing it when I was very young. And the bit that always got to me was Simon McCorkindale's death. He plays the character, I love his name, his character name, Philip Fitzroyce, and he's the expert shark hunter who is friends with Calvin Bouchard, who's played by Louis Gossett Jr. in that, and one of the main function of the character Philip Fitzroyce in the film is to be the shark hunter, to be the shark expert. So he's kind of like the Quint character of Jaws 3, kind of, and played by Simon McCorkindale. And what a great bit of casting that is. Well, if you've seen Jaws 3, you know that Simon McCorkindale's character meets a very grisly end in this film. It is so terrifying how he goes out in Jaws 3. You have Jaws applied just so forcefully, and it's a giant shark, and he's swimming in this tunnel, and the rope snaps, and he's by himself, and it's just him and the shark, and suddenly he gets sucked into the mouth, and then you go inside the mouth, and you see him, and he's just being crushed, and he's screaming, and he can't do it, and he's inside the mouth. You see the tongue and the shark and everything. Oh, this was so frightening to me. I can't begin to tell you just how scared this made me. And I wouldn't call myself someone who is claustrophobic, but this made me so terrified. This is so terrifying, and there's something really frightening about this kind of demise, this helplessness. It's almost akin to like being trapped inside a coffin or something like that. And so I just even can't begin to imagine. And so, and then of course he's there, and he's got the thing with his arm out with the grenade, and he's like, oh, and then that's when Dennis Quaid and Bess Armstrong do their little thing with the shark goes into the control room with this 3D effect, which I don't mind, to be perfectly honest. I know the film Jaws 3D gets a kind of a bad rap because it's considered one of the lesser of the series, and I can understand the criticisms. And one of the criticisms, I think, is the quote unquote poor 3D effects. But I actually thought that shark effect going into the glass and the glass breaking in this sort of a post applied way, I thought it worked well. It was a climactic moment, and it tied in with the music. But anyway, so there's that final moment where the shark rams into the thing there, and it's so big, and you get an outside shot. It's so big, it can only fit its head into the thing there. You actually see an outside shot, which is a great touch, by the way. And then you have Calvin Bouchard's nephew just biting the dust. And then Calvin Bouchard just runs or swims away with the female assistant. So he managed to escape along with the female assistant, but the nephew didn't get away quite so fortunately. And so there was that, which is really interesting if you think about the physics of the scene, because the shark was eating the nephew, just as the shark had also in its mouth the carcass of the Philip Fitzroyce character with his arm outstretched with the grenade. So, in fact, the shark's mouth was doing a lot of things of dexterity, if you think about it. So I thought that was really fascinating. But anyway, so you had this final moment with the two intrepid SeaWorld employees battling the shark in this very interesting environment, and then they came up with a wonderful idea of taking a piece of rod metal, bending it so that they could make a hook in order to hook the pin off of the grenade. Voila! And the force of the blast must have been quite significant, because you had all the carnage of the explosion afterwards, including that wonderful 3D effect of the jaws themselves. But I was always amazed at how they were able, the two of them, to survive that blast. I would think because of the proximity they would have perished as well, or at least been significantly injured. But that beside the point. I think yes, it was Simon McCorkindale's character's demise in the film Jaws 3 that always unnerved me, and it still does to this day. There are moments like that in the Jaws series. The first film, I think, has a lot of them. The second film has quite a few of those as well. The third film, the one I'm speaking about now, does as well. There's that bit where they have a close-up of the body of Overman when they pull the sheet, and you see the deformed carcass with the bugs and everything. And this was so shocking. This was incredibly shocking to me. Yeah. So, but what was that? What did she say? Overman was killed inside the park. The baby was caught inside the park. Its mother is inside the park. At least I hope that I got that quote right. But anyway, that's Jaws 3. And I still think that it's really very scary and unnerving. And I think that's due to the part because I saw it when I was a little kid. So one of these days I'd like to watch Jaws 3, but who knows? Or not watch Jaws 3, what I was saying. I'd like to be able to talk more about Jaws 3. Jaws 2, I think, is one that I also really enjoyed. Again, I saw that as a kid, and I thought that was really interesting with the shark design, and then Jaws 3. And Jaws 4, too. I saw Jaws 4 in the theater with my mom, and Jaws 4: The Revenge. And I also saw it when I was fairly young. And I understand the criticisms against Jaws 4, but I still find it to be, for what it's worth, I still find it to be a pretty effective chiller with some very effective scenes. And it's a film, so I think it's meant to have a certain sense of suspension of disbelief. Another way to call it that is the aspect of being ludicrous. And I think the aspect of being ludicrous still works to its advantage, to a certain degree anyway. I'm talking about Jaws 4. And it still has some really frightening moments, at least I think. As I say, I saw it in the theater, so it had a bit of an effect on me. It's not the greatest film I've ever seen, but it's still something that I don't think it's absolutely terrible, that's for sure. But maybe one of these days I'll try to talk more about Jaws 4. But in any event, my friends, this was about Jaws 3. I don't even know why I'm going on about this. Maybe I should just have this as a little bonus footage thing, because I don't quite think this is working out as a video. But oh well, for anyone who's still watching, thank you very much, and maybe I'll take the opportunity next time to talk more about Jaws 3 in more detail. So anyway, thank you very much, and cheers. Thank you. Bye-bye.